Alright. Well, out here getting our cardio done. Just walking away. Walking away. Definitely not motivated today to be out here, but we gotta do it. It is, at least it's a little bit cooler than it was yesterday. It's a nice breeze. It's just been pretty consistent. So I guess more or less it'd be more of a wind. It's probably like 10-ish miles an hour, so it feels good. But it's like 74, 86% humidity out. So it's a little thick, but because that air is moving, it feels good. That natural nature swamp cooler right there. Humidity plus wind. So today is leg day. Arms sore completely. Triceps feel tore up. Definitely hurts to extend my arm and definitely press on anything. So yesterday's arm training, effective. We're a little bloated feeling today. Definitely see it in my face too. Look all puffy. I broke down a little bit on the diet yesterday, last night. Just was craving some sugar. So I went and got a box of Whoppers. Terrible candy for you, but devoured those things, and so today I feel a little shitty for it. Just a bit bloated, a little sluggish. It's just a bunch of sugars and carbs that I haven't been having, so it is what it is, though. You know, we'll just keep going. We'll keep making progress. Because one little thing here and there isn't going to make a big difference in the grand scheme of things. Sure, I'm 100% sure if I hopped on the scale today, I'd probably be like 2 pounds heavier. But that isn't our concern. Because I know tomorrow I'll probably weigh what I did yesterday, and the day after that I'll be a little bit down. So it just kind of is what it is. So I'm not too worried about it. If anything, it bumped up the glycogen stores in the muscle tissue from all of the extra sugar. So we'll go ahead and take it, and we'll let it be. It won't be the last time. So, but we just kind of move on with that. And as funny as it is, our diet is, I don't know if you'd call it good or bad. So I mean, it's 1.5 pounds of chicken a day, 3 russet potatoes a day, with this little air fryer breading mix that gets 3 tablespoons per half pound, and basically chop the chicken breasts up into cubes, bread them, air fry them. And I eat chicken nuggets currently 3 times a day. The russet potatoes, each one of those get chopped up into french fries, 1 each time. And I just do those up in some peanut oil. And then a little bit of ketchup for the nuggies. I put just some fry seasoning salt on the french fries. That's the current diet. So it's 161 grams of protein, 111 grams of carbs, and 57 grams of fat. So it's 1,850-ish calories. A little bit less, but with the ketchup it's about 1,850. So that's how I get to that deficit. Super simple. Takes like basically 20 minutes to prep and cook. So it is easily repeatable. Depending upon which air fryer seasoning you put on there, you know, you could have just some normal chicken nuggets, some Italian ones, some spicy ones, some buffalo ones. The ability to have some variety while eating the same meal makes that meal easy to go down. And it doesn't feel like you're restricted because you're eating chicken nuggets and french fries. But, you know, when it's just a russet potato with no chemicals, well, beyond whatever's probably on it at the farm, just make sure it's not that appeal crap. And then, since I use peanut oil, you just gotta make sure your oil says peanuts, because it's the only ingredient there. You don't want nothing blended with canola oil, vegetable oil, all that fucking nasty shit. And then, or you can use avocado oil if you're that type of person. Then, next to that, you got your ketchup. So, if it's Heinz, well, that shit's bad for you. It is what it is. But if you're eating like an organic ketchup, you're going to see something that has like tomatoes or tomato paste on there. You're going to see vinegar, some spices, salt, seasoning, probably some rice vinegar on some of them, and basically very simple ingredient list of ketchup. So it can be a very healthy meal, obviously, and macro wise it's very effective at hitting your macros. I mean, it's a half a pound of chicken and medium russet potato, so there's not no crazy science to that one. And then basically once a week I try to go ahead and have some sort of red meat, whether it's burger, steak, whatever. Just that way I'm keeping my iron and stuff up. I'm also taking a daily vitamin for that, since I'm not consuming a huge amount of red meat currently. One, because it's expensive, but two, it's also way denser in the calories. And since I don't want to give up on the amount I'm eating, I have to make the sacrifice for a leaner meat protein. So I save, I don't know, I'd want to say 400 to 600 calories over a pound and a half of meat by picking chicken over beef. So it all adds up in the end. But so what I'm saying is, one little cheat or snack here and there, that doesn't affect your overall progress, as long as that's not every day, you know. Preferably not even once a week. You definitely want to. I try to go, 2-week spans. But it is what it is. Especially if it's early off when you're starting into your diet. Freaking if you eat bad 7 days a week, and now you're going to eat good, say, 5 days out of the week, you're going to make progress, because your diet's going to change and things are going to happen. And I mean, at the minimum, you'll feel better. Whether or not you drop any weight, that's a different story, but you might put on some muscle by just consuming a little more protein and just being a little more calorie conscious during the week. And then now, I mean, that's obviously don't eat extra on the weekends than what you're doing. But those little changes add up. So, Even if you start out at one day, you have a cleaner meal, or better yet, a meal. Say Monday, lunchtime, you eat cleaner. And then the next day, Tuesday, lunchtime, you're going to eat cleaner. And you get that through an entire week, right? Then you go, okay, Monday breakfast and lunch. And then you get through a whole week of doing 2 meals a day that are cleaner. Then the third week comes around. Now you get into 3 meals that are cleaner. And if you need a fourth meal that's cleaner. And then at that point, you've already slowly adjusted yourself over a month's period of time. And yeah, sure, in that month, you're probably not going to see the biggest change, but that second month, that's going to be a massive effect over the next 30 days. So that first 30 days, you took it, you made those changes to start your snowball rolling down the hill. Then that second month, that snowball's picking up speed. So it all starts with little changes like that. You can't just make big changes all at once. There's really only a couple things that applies to alcohol, smoking, things like that you kind of want to just stop. Deal with the fact you're going to feel like shit for a week or two. You're going to have some crazy cravings for a week or two. You're probably going to be a cocksucker to be around for a week or two. But once that's over, and you've made it 21 days or 23 days? It's all it takes to reprogram the brain to a specific habit. You're done with it. So sure, you're going to have those cravings, but they're not going to be like they were. They're going to be a lot easier to maintain that at that point if you're not just slowly trying to wean yourself off of it. So, but I'm going to go cook my first meal here, and I'll see you all in the gym for legs. Alright, so today's leg day. We're going to do today a little bit different. I kind of want to work up and see where my squat currently is, so I know a benchmark to be working towards, since I don't know exactly how strong my squat is, because I haven't squatted in so long without getting this bar pad, which has let me squat again, now that nerve doesn't get pinched and crushed and just makes it basically impossible to squat. So I've gone ahead and warmed up with 95, 135, 155. The first 2 sets were for just 6 to 8 reps. Did 155 for 3 reps. I'm going to go ahead and hit 185 for 2 reps. And then we're just going to work in 1 rep increments after that, just kind of moving up 20 pounds at a time. And we'll see where we land today to be comfortable. I'm going to assume at least 225. It would be cool if I'm around 245, maybe even 265. 265 might currently be a big stretch for me. But we're going to find out today. So let's go ahead and hit these 2 reps, see how these actually feel right now. And we will go from there. Alright, so 185 feels pretty good. Not going to complain about that. I definitely feel a little stiffness in the knees, but that is normally pretty understandable for me for my first few squats anyways. They normally just feel a bit tight. Lower back currently feels okay still at 185. Doesn't feel too much pressure, too much tightness. So I'm okay with going to 205 now. And then we'll go ahead and do 205, we'll go to 225, and hopefully 245 at a minimum. So we're going to go ahead and hit this 205 squat real quick and see how one rep of this feels. So at that stance, feels good on the knees, feels good on the lower back, feels nice and strong. The glutes, hamstrings, quads all feel good. So we're going to go ahead and move to 225 and see how 225 feels for the next rep. But again, I'm going to go ahead and take about a minute rest before I try hitting 225. That way, basically it just allows the muscles enough time to rebuild a little bit of glycogen that it would have burned for that singular rep, which is very minimal. But since we're trying to see where our strength currently lies, we definitely want it to be optimized on each rep. Alright, so that little rest break is done. So let's go ahead and hit this 225 and see how that feels these days. All right, that felt really nice and solid as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this switched around to get another plate on here, and then we'll adjust to 245 after that. Got this switched around now for 245. So now we're gonna go ahead and hit this for a single and see how that feels. If that still feels solid, we'll go for a 265 rep. And it's probably around where I think my current max is, but depending upon how that feels, maybe we'll go for 285. Woo! All right, 245 still feels pretty good. Feel like I went to depth. Not quite sure. Wasn't really paying attention to that. Was just trying to feel what my body was feeling. Lower back still feels okay. Doesn't feel like it rolled underneath me or anything. My hips are dropping under, so that's good. No tension anywhere. Nothing in the knees, quads, hams. Nothing in the lower back at the moment. It is definitely starting to feel heavy overall in the spine, but I haven't squatted this heavy in a long time, so I'm definitely not comfortable with that feeling anymore. So it makes sense that it feels tight. But I'm definitely going to attempt 265 for sure. 245 went right up, so I didn't struggle with it, didn't feel unbalanced. So I'm going to go ahead and take my little rest period here, and we'll switch back, and or when we come back, we'll be doing 265. So let's do this. Woo! All right, I gotta sit down for a second. weight wise, that's a struggle. That is definitely a struggle. Maybe 270? Maybe. Pretty sure I probably would fail 270. But this is the first heavy squat I've done in, oh man, like actual heavy barbell squat in probably like a year and a half, I want to say. A year? So at least a year, maybe like a year and a half, because I don't think I've squatted heavy since like last, like January or February of 2023. It's July of 2024 now, so I'm actually excited that I can still hit 265. It's I mean, in the world of squatting, I don't think that's exceptionally strong, but I mean, anyone who could squat 2 plates to depth, you know, you're probably above the average for the most part. So I don't know what the average, you know, gym goer squat is. I'd probably say it's 225 for someone who actually goes to the gym all the time. The average population definitely can't squat 225. So 265, I'm happy with that being my current 1 rep. That now gives me a weight to work off of for what I think I want to program squats themselves at. Because I don't like doing like the traditional like 3x5, 5x5 like squat program. I like doing, when it comes to like squats, I like going like 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, working up to just a heavy 2 rep in the squat. And then doing everything else for that big quad pump. So like my 4 rep and my 2 rep squat is the overload for the amount of loaded stimulus I'm putting on the legs. And then everything else is like that the loaded volume stimulus. So like the hack squat, the V squat, RDLs, all that stuff is my volume work for leg growth. So, and one of the reasons why is I'd rather keep the volume of my squats fairly low, so the time that I'm loaded on my back is less, and I can just get it done fairly quickly. Because the longer I stay loaded on my back, the more uncomfortable it gets, and the more prone I am to having like lower back pain. So if I can keep my time very precise to this is a few set of reps I'm doing under real heavy loads that's compressing my spine, the better for me. That's the way I like to do it. It may not be optimal, but I'm not worried about it being optimal. So it's in the grand scheme of things, it's probably not the best. But for me, I found it's what gives me the best effects and growth. Preferably, I also like to have this, you know, being paired with leg extensions and leg curls inside of the same day. But I don't have one of those machines. So, at least not yet. The goal is hopefully next month I'll be buying one. Maybe. Well, be going on credit card, but that is what I'm kind of hoping on, depending upon how the rest of stuff works out. But with that, I'm gonna go ahead and get this unracked, and then we'll go ahead and we'll move on to V squats and calf raises. I don't know if we're going to do RDLs today. Feel a little exhausted now with that exertion there. And the V squats are probably going to tire me out extremely quickly. So we're going to go ahead and just get to the V squats, do calf raises, and then we'll judge RDLs after. So and all we did was some 1 rep squats to check current maxing per se. So these are definitely going to be pretty fatiguing, but we're shooting for three sets of at least 8 reps, 270 pounds. My quads are on fire. I could definitely do another 2 reps on that set, but it's definitely going to be hard to get to 8 on the 3rd set. By the way, I can feel my legs right now. Even though, people say you shouldn't save reps for this and that, but I'm not trying to strictly go straight to failure on my first set of an exercise either. So, I'm going to go ahead and hit 2 more sets of these, and then we'll move on to calf raises, and I think we might just call it at that today. I do feel a bit tired and fatigued, and it's probably, one, because I had all that candy last night. My body just feels like junk today now from all that sugar and processed garbage. So, and then I also went ahead and put it through a pretty high stimulus for something that I normally don't do. So it's already more fatiguing than normal. So, because even though I only did, 1 rep, 225, 245, 265, those reps are 40, 60, and 80 pounds heavier than what I've been doing on my 3x5 for squats. So that jumping up 80 pounds in a compound lift is, very aggressive on the central nervous system and the way the muscles feel from it, because they're not used to that stimulus. So it is definitely tiring. So I'll see you guys here in a minute when I go to do calf raises, and then we'll be on out of here. I've got a 225 on here for the calf raises. We've been doing them at 185. 1, I'm just lazy and I don't want to take the 45s off to put 25s back on. But 2, 185's kind of light for my calves. So I'm going to go ahead and test it out and see how this feels on my back to go ahead and just calf raise with this weight on here. And if it's fine, then we will stay with this for our calf raises. And again, this being free weight also has to make my core and my hips, knees, ankles, all that stuff work quite a bit harder to stabilize, which is something I've been missing with the Smith machine doing these. So I definitely want to start getting that mobility portion to this set back in here. Ugh. And also, I want to, with that at the same time, start getting the spine a lot more used to having to hold that weight again inside that direction and having a balance with it, because it's going to help my core stability and core strength overall, just holding that load up on my shoulders. So, but it does definitely, I can feel it making my neck and traps pretty tight. So, that's alright though. They need to get used to it. That's why we've got the bar pad, so that way it helps disperse that weight more evenly, and it's not pinching the nerve, so that's all that matters. So, I'm going to knock out 2 more sets of that, and I'm going to just get on out of here today. We're going to call it a little short. We're going to skip RDLs and hip thrusters, but I'm not too worried about the hamstrings and glutes today. They're a stronger part of my leg for sure. My hamstrings and glutes are much, much stronger than my quads. So I'm not going to worry about, leaving them out here and there. Now when I go to focus on my deadlift again, then all of the hamstring and glute work is going to become much more important. But right now our deadlift, is sitting at 405. So I'm not too concerned about that when I can deadlift 405, but I struggle to squat 265. So I definitely need to get that quad work up, that back stability up, because I don't know why this is so hard stability wise versus like a deadlift. Like I have no problem deadlifting 405 pounds and holding it, but the second that weight's up on my back, oh man, it's a whole different story. Like this might as well just be 600 pounds because that's the way it feels. But with that, make sure you're working towards your goals and you're getting your stuff done. And most of all, don't be a lazy fuck.